Did a local sheriff's ego just destroy the FBI's best chance at finding Nancy Guthrie? 6 months have passed since the 84-year-old vanished from her home, and instead of answers, we are uncovering a trail of devastating police blunders. Could the Pima County Sheriff's Department have accidentally tipped off the perpetrators? We now know that an unredacted ransom note was released to the public, completely exposing a secret digital trap set by the FBI. But how could such a catastrophic mistake happen in a high-profile kidnapping? Today, Rick Castagar, the former boss of current Sheriff Chris Nanos, is stepping forward to expose what he calls a toxic culture of micromanagement. Could this internal war between local and federal authorities be the exact reason a prime suspect slipped away? We are going to examine the leaked Bitcoin wallet, the contaminated physical evidence, the dismissal of early video footage, and a chilling escape route toward the Mexican border. If you think the mystery ends at the front porch, you are vastly underestimating the chaos behind the scenes. Could the very people sworn to solve this case be the ones stalling it? Stay with me, because the truth we are uncovering today will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about this investigation. Let us look straight at the most shocking blunder of this entire 6-month ordeal. Shortly after Nancy Guthrie disappeared, ransom notes were delivered to the authorities. The second note contained a highly specific detail. It mentioned Nancy's white Apple Watch charging on the floor at the foot of her bed. Could the author of these notes truly be the person who took her, or could this be an elaborate hoax by an opportunist who somehow gained access to the crime scene? To find out, local authorities released the notes to the public to see if anyone recognized the phrasing. However, they committed an unimaginable error. The department published the notes completely unredacted, leaving a digital Bitcoin wallet address fully visible to the entire internet. Could this single oversight have ruined a highly sensitive federal sting? Web sleuths quickly investigated the Bitcoin wallet and discovered that the FBI had made a tiny transaction, a digital trap meant to trace the suspects. Attached to this transaction was a hidden, public message: "We are ready to pay. Contact us." By failing to blur that photograph before hitting publish, did the Pima County Sheriff's Department broadcast the FBI's secret strategy directly to the actual perpetrators? To understand how this chaos was allowed to happen, we must look at the man in charge. Rick Castagar, a law enforcement veteran and former chief deputy, worked intimately with Sheriff Chris Nanos for 3 decades. Castagar claims that the current sheriff operates with a notorious level of micromanagement and harbors a deep-seated disdain for the FBI dating back to a corruption probe a decade ago. Could this bruised ego and need for total control be actively stalling the progress of the investigation? According to insiders, Sheriff Chris Nanos has refused to hand over full control of the case to federal agents. But if the digital investigation was compromised so easily, what on earth was happening at the physical crime scene? If you thought the digital mistakes were alarming, the handling of the physical evidence at Nancy Guthrie's home is downright chilling. Just 36 hours into the investigation, local authorities inexplicably called off the initial search and opened the crime scene to the public. News crews were documented standing on the porch, dangerously close to where suspected blood evidence was later found. Could this early contamination have destroyed the one piece of microscopic evidence needed to crack this case wide open? Could a single footprint, a stray fiber, or a crucial drop of DNA have been wiped away by reporters rushing to get a camera angle? Weeks later, investigators discovered discarded gloves near the property. But when the lab processed the DNA, they made a horrifying discovery. The genetic material belonged to the investigators themselves. Could the search teams have been so careless that they contaminated their own crime scene? If trained professionals are leaving their own DNA on critical evidence, how can we trust the integrity of anything pulled from that house? This brings us to the baffling timeline of the video evidence. We now know there was footage of an unknown figure approaching the house. But could the local police have completely dismissed this crucial lead on day one? According to Castagar, the local authorities noticed a Google Nest camera on the property, but abandoned it upon learning that Nancy Guthrie did not pay for cloud storage. They assumed the footage was gone. It was only later, when the FBI became involved, that federal agents reached out directly to the tech giant to recover the deleted files. Could the figure captured in that recovered footage have been wearing double gloves and a full mask to conceal their identity? Did this person know the camera was not actively backing up to the cloud, or was it merely terrifying luck? If the FBI had not stepped in to check the deleted archives, would the authorities ever have seen the face, or at least the disguised silhouette, of the prime suspect? While the Google Nest camera footage was sitting unexamined, local authorities were reportedly focusing all their energy elsewhere. Could a profound case of tunnel vision have derailed the critical first weeks of the search? Early reports suggest that investigators zeroed in on the immediate family, specifically a brother-in-law. They seized vehicles, held them for months, and executed nighttime searches. It is standard procedure to look at the family first, but could this hyperfocus have blinded the Pima County Sheriff's Department to the true perpetrators escaping southward? The sheriff recently stated that just because the family is cleared, it does not mean they didn't do it. What kind of message does that send? Is it a tactic to keep all avenues open, or does it reflect a profound lack of direction in an investigation that is slowly turning cold? Let us return to the psychology of those ransom notes, because the wording offers a deeply unsettling glimpse into the mind of the author. The second note stated that they did not realize how sick the victim was, claiming she passed away and was buried with nature. Could the writer actually feel remorse, or is this a calculated, manipulative move to toy with the authorities and the family? Nancy Guthrie was 84 years old with significant medical needs. If this was a coordinated abduction for financial gain, how could the perpetrators possibly plan to care for a medically fragile senior citizen? This medical reality connects directly to a terrifying geographic theory presented by Rick Castagar. The victim's home is a mere 90-minute drive from the Mexican border, and it sits near the Tejano Owadam Nation, an autonomous reservation where individuals can cross into Mexico unimpeded. Could a sophisticated group of perpetrators have utilized this exact route to completely bypass federal checkpoints in the dead of night? If you have an elderly hostage who requires medical attention, could crossing into a jurisdiction outside the reach of the American media and federal law enforcement have been part of the blueprint from day one? If this border theory holds weight, it makes the local department's initial refusal to utilize the FBI's vast tracking resources even more tragic. Did the sheriff's pride allow the escape window to slam shut forever? Could investigators have intercepted a vehicle at a border checkpoint if the FBI had been given absolute command on the very first morning? The bureaucratic red tape described by Castagar paints a picture of a department paralyzed by fear of retribution. He recounted an instance where a vital $250 training program for hundreds of officers was allegedly canceled simply because the instructor had not supported the sheriff politically. If leadership is willing to micromanage and cancel a tiny training budget over a personal grudge, what happens when a multi-million-dollar FBI task force attempts to take the reins on the biggest kidnapping case in the county's history? Could the detectives working the ground be too terrified of losing their jobs to follow the evidence where it truly leads? Are they being forced to ask for permission before running down every critical lead? Local authorities have now hinted at using advanced familial DNA tracing on a separate, unknown male sample found at the scene, similar to the groundbreaking technology used to catch the Golden State Killer. The process involves building massive family trees from tiny genetic markers. But we must remain objective and ask a critical question. Could this mysterious DNA actually belong to the culprit, or is it merely a red herring left behind by a delivery driver, a landscaper, or a utility worker days before the abduction? Without the full weight and autonomy of the FBI's advanced behavioral and forensic units leading the charge, tracking down this single genetic thread could take years. Just days ago, FBI agents were spotted quietly returning to the area behind Nancy's house. 6 months later, they are still digging through the brush. Could they have finally found something that the local police missed on day one? Are they following up on tip number 4000, or has the earth finally yielded a secret that the perpetrators tried to bury? Or, tragically, is this merely a sign that the investigation is desperately grasping at straws? Now, I want to turn this conversation over to you, my incredible viewers. Many of you have lived through decades of headline news, watching how high-profile investigations evolve, twist, and sometimes completely fall apart. You have seen the justice system at its finest, and you have seen it at its most dysfunctional. You carry a wealth of life experience, sharp intuition, and a keen eye for human behavior that simply cannot be replicated by any algorithm, any textbook, or any press briefing. I truly value your insights, and I want to know what your instincts are telling you about this baffling mystery. Do you believe that Sheriff Chris Nanos and his department's staggering mistakes, like abandoning the security footage and leaking that Bitcoin wallet, have irreparably damaged the FBI's ability to solve this case? Or do you think there is a much deeper, more complex layer to this story that the authorities are intentionally keeping hidden from the public eye? Could the mysterious, unknown DNA lead to a sudden, miraculous breakthrough, or is the Mexican border theory the most logical explanation for how someone could vanish into the desert without leaving a single concrete trace behind? Please, Scroll down and leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I read your comments every single day, and I am consistently amazed by the wisdom, the respect, and the incredible theories this mature and thoughtful community brings to the table. Your perspective matters immensely to me. If you found this investigative deep dive insightful, please click the like button. It helps this channel reach more people who care about finding the truth and holding authorities accountable. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on Nancy Guthrie and other crucial investigations that demand our attention. Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, and your unwavering support. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, the truth is always worth searching for, no matter who tries to stand in the way.